open the meeting. It's 5 o'clock. In accordance with Local Government Act of 1993, Cowra Council is recording this meeting and it will be uploaded, the recording, to Council's website. By speaking at this meeting, you agree to being recorded and having that recording published in the public domain. Please ensure that when you speak at council meetings, you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. Cowra Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this meeting. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Wiradjuri people, and pay our respects to elders, past, present and emerging. Apologies and application for leave of absence by councillors. I have Councillor Cheryl Speechley is on leave, she's an apology. Councillor Erin Watt is an apology, she's ill. Councillor Ruth Fagan's an apology on leave. We have an apology from Paul Devery, and we also have an apology from Dirk Weimer. Do we have any other apologies? Well, no. Right. Councillors and staff indicate in relation to any interest you declare you would
I move
report.
that we accept those apologies.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Cheryl Downing. Thank you. We have disclosures of interest. Council and staff, please indicate in relation to any interest you need to declare. What report and item you are declaring an interest in, whether the interest is pecuniary or non-pecuniary, and what is the nature of the interest. Any declarations? Yes, Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A minor non-pecuniary interest, item 8.4 with the Access Committee, business arising 3.3. It's to do with the building of 15 Bow Street. I'm the chair of the SINC who is leasing the building from council. Thank you.
Any others? Okay, we have one presentation tonight. Mr. Philip Ingram, on behalf of the Arambi All Blacks, would like to make a presentation to us tonight. Phil? Yep, up there. There should be a button. There's a button there. Yep, the light will, yep, that's it.
How you all going, councillors? Yeah, I'd just like to make a jersey presentation to the Cowra Council for, helping us out to compete in this year's annual Koori Knockout in this year's one and the last couple of years, and hopefully we can continue this relationship in the future for the next couple of generations to come.
Thank you very much, Phil. I was going to wear this tonight. You're not going to believe it, I've grown. Actually, it looks like it, it just doesn't, apparently. What I'd like to do is return this to Phil and get him to get all the players he can to sign it. We'll frame it up and put it downstairs in the foyer. So it's got our logo on the back, as you can all see. So I think it's a fitting thing. Phil, I thank you for coming and telling us how you went. I read the spiel, it beat right at the death.
Yeah, that's the way it goes at times. You got to hang on to that football and treat it like gold, and if you don't, you can get hurt right on the bell. And that's
always come back to bite, doesn't it? Yeah.
But our juniors went really well, so it's the future that we're trying to build for now. We've gone from having one men's team now to having 6 teams in knockout, so that's really good.
And as much as anything, I'm going to talk on this later on in the year, but this is as much a cultural thing as it is a sporting thing.
Yeah,
I think everybody gets together and
yeah, well, we see a lot of family members that we don't normally get to see. We only really get to see them at times at funerals or anything like that. It is a big celebration. It's not just about football.
No, that's right.
Like you said, well, for me personally, it's just growing with these young ones where they don't need to go and represent any other towns and that. They can represent their own town and own community and families.
Thank you very much. Take that back. See what you can get signed.
Yeah, I'll at least get all the Cowra boys that are here and that. And if you want, I can get some of the juniors and that.
Yeah, get them
well.
all.
So
The names, yeah, they might be very important later in life.
Yeah, you might be signing up with a couple of good ones.
Yeah, you never know.
All right.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, a public forum. We don't have anybody for the public forum. So we'll go on to item 2, confirmation of minutes. I'll now take a motion to confirm the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 30th of September 2024. Councillor Kiss. Seconded, Councillor Downing. Anyone, Councillor Kiss, Councillor Downing, would anyone like to speak on those matters? Okay, take the motion. All those in favour? Okay, I'll now take a motion to confirm the minutes of the extraordinary council meeting held on the 14th of October 2024. Councillor Downing. Councillor Wright. Councillor Downing. Nothing to say. Councillor Wright. Okay, put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Okay, I have a mayoral minute, item 3.1. It's the joint organisation of Central New South Wales. I wasn't at the meeting. Mayor Fagan was at the time. Of interest in that is that they're trying to cut the red tape, and the Minister for Local Government has said she had the support of the Auditor General on the red fleet, and that's the start of some of the red tape that is ridiculous and it needs to be sorted out. So, would someone like to move that? I'll move that we accept that mayoral minute. Second to Councillor Kiss. As I said, it's there for the reading. There's a fair bit of reading in it. Has anybody got any comments on it? Councillor Kiss.
Just briefly, because I thought it was quite interesting that the spare capacity in housing, I thought was an interesting concept. So there's 60,000 spare bedrooms in what I think is presumably regional New South Wales. And they're trying to make this arrangement more streamlined so that people can move into these spare bedrooms. So I'm sure it will help some people, but it'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
And I think they've been saying the same thing for the last 20 years. They're going to streamline it all. Yeah. So, anybody else? I'll put the motion. Thank you. Passed. Okay. General committee recommendations: rent of enclosed dedicated roads, adjustments to the revenue policy. Item 4.1. Downing, Councillor Downing. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Downing.
Yeah, I spoke to this in the committee meeting just to say that it was about a previous decision that council made to amend the billing model for the rent for enclosed dedicated roads, change it from land valuation to the rate cap, which is a much fairer system for the users. It was publicly notified because there is $18,223 loss in revenue and there were no submissions. So to endorse that now means that we can issue new accounts with the new pricing system.
Thank you. Councillor Horton? Nothing. Anybody else want to make a comment on that? Okay, put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. 4.2, donation request, Lachlan Valley Railway Cooperative Society. That's on page 32. And that's towards the cost of sealing its entry road. Do I have a motion? Councillor Kiss, thank you.
I'll second.
Thanks, Councillor Wright. Councillor Kiss?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just briefly, we did speak to this at the General Committee meeting, obviously. $500 is to go towards the Lachlan Valley Railway Society, towards the costs of sealing its entry road, which, as we know, is traversed by an awful lot of tourists and will be very busy in the coming weeks too. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Wright?
No, I think, the important thing is to have a safe entry for the workers and tourists that go there, and Councillor Kiss mentioned that, and I think this is a very good, it's $500, there's a lot of money if you haven't got it, but in the scheme of things that council doing it, I think it's a very realistic donation. Thank you.
Anybody else? Nothing? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Okay, 4.3, the risk management policy. And I have Kiss, Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As I said, we did discuss this at length. Councillor Watt, who's unable to be present tonight, did suggest quite a few different amendments, which were very worthy amendments. We did discuss them and decided that they were worth including in the original policy, and I'm happy to support it as is. Thank you.
Councillor Horton.
Just to echo that, yes, good discussion at the committee meeting, and I think we've made a few extra additions which make the policy a bit more robust. So happy to support.
Anybody else? Councillor Wright.
Yeah, I support what's put forward to us. I sometimes feel that the risk management schedule, it's got to cover a lot of areas, but we can get lost. I feel that we could get lost if we try to hone in on certain areas and make it difficult to actually operate. But hopefully I think this will work. I was a bit concerned about the generational transfer of risk when we do large projects, and the next generation will have to pay for them. But as I said at the committee meeting, if we don't do some things now and we leave it to the next generation, the costs could be 3 or 4 times higher. But there is one safety valve with the way council operates, and most councils don't like it, and that's the rate pegging system. That if we're going to go above rate pegging to pay for a certain infrastructure project, we're going to have to go to the people to vote on it before it can be accepted. So if we can work things out in a budget that operates under the rate pegging regime, the transfer of risk to the next generation is significantly reduced, I feel, and council's business is about building the community going forward, not just fix what we got now and let someone else fix something else later on. So that's my feeling, but we do need a risk register to ensure safety and both financial safety and physically safety and fraud and everything else. But I support it. Thank you.
Anybody else? I'd just like to say that it used to be called sound financial management, but you can call it whatever you like. We have the responsibility to judge how long we take to pay for things and how we're going to go about that. So I'll put the motion. Passed. Okay, 4.4, the fraud and corruption policy. Again, that was debated. Councillor Horton and Councillor Downing. Councillor Horton.
Thank you. Yes, again, similar to the risk discussion, we made a slight adjustment and addition to it, which I support. But I think the other thing to note and to remember is that these need to be dynamic and living documents. And so as we review, we can always update and improve in the future as well. Thank you.
Councillor Downing?
Yeah, I agree with what Councillor Horton has said. This is the first time we've committed to a formal framework for this policy. Obviously, it took part, there were other things that used to happen. Now it's all in one place and it's a sensible addition to our risk management.
Thank you. Anybody else? Put the motion. All those in favour? Right. Okay. 4.5, the investments and financial report. You will recall at the last meeting there were some errors in that the software hadn't adapted to. That has now been corrected. Have you had a look at that? I'd like a mover, please. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Downing, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Just a question, please. So we're not going to move to defer this now, we're going to discuss it. It's another item later on in the agenda, isn't it?
It's been deferred to now, so it is now correct. The figures,
The figures are at the back, are they?
yep, they are correct now. The graphs have been updated to different colours, so everything now is accurate and you can read it with safety. Well, actually, it's just been brought to my attention. You're right, Councillor, right? We did defer it, and it is in later on in the financial report. So, if you'd like to defer it now, it'll come back in item 6.5. Would someone like to move that we defer it to 6.5? I think that's the way we go. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Where are we? Yep, and Councillor Downing, you're happy with that? Okay. All those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. 4.6, the section 355 committee draft minutes of the Cowra Regional Art Gallery Advisory Committee. The councillor that was the chair of that's no longer on council, so I'll take that. Councillor Downing, thank you. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Downing?
As discussed at the committee meeting, this is like a very small committee, but very active. They've had lots of different shows on and lots of different exhibitions, and I do really well. So the councillor that gets this one is going to be very busy.
Councillor Kiss? I would note in all of your drawers tonight, there's the catalogue of the Colleen collection, and I had a quick look at it on Saturday, and the paintings and the art over there come up a lot better than they do in the photographs, and actually for once I agreed with the one that won it. Quite often I don't, but I did, so for what that's worth. Okay, all those in favour?
Aye.
Passed. Okay, 4.7, DA number 63/2024, Lot 1 DP 168201, 15 Somerset Street, Cowra, 2-lot subdivision and construction of 2 dwellings lodged by M.L. Katali. Can I have a mover? Councillor Kiss. Second, Councillor Horton. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did actually discuss it again at the General Committee meeting. I sort of have mixed feelings with this, but mine is more, and this is to approve the 2-lot subdivision with dwellings, but I recognise the increased housing need that we have. It's critical importance. I suppose what I'm feeling a little bit disappointed in, and it's not specific to this particular case, but I find it's a missed opportunity to increase housing for people with wanting to age in place. I just think that things like this that are close to town, you know, where they're smaller, less maintenance, they would be ideal for people who are aging in our community. You know, just putting in things like ramps and widening doorways is so much cheaper when they're being built to when they're being retrofitted. And of course, you know, the the builder and the applicant didn't need to have those. It's certainly not a requirement. It's just for me feeling that it would have been wonderful opportunity, but I support the development. Thank you.
Councillor Horton.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, support those comments by Councillor Kiss as well. I think they're on the money in terms of it's easier to do it when you're building as opposed to trying to retrofit. I also want to acknowledge the really good discussion when we talked about this DA at our committee meeting, and absolutely take on board those comments. And I think that's the value and the purpose of a good, robust discussion in council is to consider those different points of view. But having said all that, I think it's one of the things that I take very seriously is trying to build that mix of housing availability, and this is an opportunity to do that. So absolutely fully support. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Wright.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult, and it's not just one variation. It's got several variations to the DCP, and admittedly, that us as a council can approve variations to the DCP. We can't do it to the LEP, but it is a document that we set that we think should suit most developments with what the controls we have there. I was a bit disappointed when one councillor suggested, well, he's got to use all this land and cut down the setbacks because to make money that he's got to put more house on a little block, and but that doesn't mean I don't think we should be granting changes to setbacks and so forth for the financial well-being of a developer. It does need a little bit of room about the house and so forth, and admittedly the house next door on the northern end isn't right on the boundary. Bow Street was mentioned, but I think we have a separate development code for that area and how they should be built and what style. So I'm a bit of a loss. If there wasn't so many changes, asking to change, it'd be a lot easier. And anyway, I've got 1 or 2 minutes to finalise my decision. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Downing.
So I spoke against this at the committee meeting for the very reason, or I voted against it and spoke against it because of the rear setback, which has changed from the traditional 5 metres to 1.402 metres, which is not just a small variation, it's quite a substantial variation to our DCP. As I understand that they will be building and it'll be up to people to buy the house, whether they like the backyard or they don't, it's up to them to sell it. I still think the front ones are acceptable. I don't agree with the rear setback, so I'll be voting against it.
Okay, I'll have a say as well. Yes, there's very small backyard, but either these dwellings are being built for resale or rent. Either way, the people that take up those options will be fully aware of the size of the backyard. If they don't want a backyard, they're happy to buy it. If they do want a backyard, they won't buy it. So that's my attitude. I'm going to put the motion, write a reply. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and I think Councillor Downing has definitely hit the nail on the head too as to why I'm also very mixed feelings about it. And at the end of the day, I think increased housing stock is what I'm primarily looking at, and also, as has been mentioned, if people are going to buy it, they will, and if they won't. And I would also like to note that it's not setting a precedent in any way. So if we find that it's not going to work, doesn't mean we're going to allow the neighbours to do it. We see how it goes and see the response. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else want to have the final say at all? This is going to be a contentious one. Okay, I'm going to put the motion to DA, so it'll be show of hands. All those in favour? Those against? 3-2, it gets up, passed. Okay, 4.8, Development application 54/2024, lot 2, DP 746612, 25 Porters Mount Road, Cowra, demolition of an existing shed and construction of a new shed lodged by W. Loader. Can I have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor Kiss. Do I have a seconder? It's on page 40. Thank you. Councillor Downing. Councillor Kiss. Take your time, get it right.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I'm getting my head around this new screen. Yes, look, it certainly was discussed, a shed coming down and a new one going up. The variation was to the shed height, to allow it to be 5.5 metres. I don't see any problems with it at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kiss. Councillor Downing.
I'd agree with Councillor Kiss that the only variation we were asked for was the height. It's on a rural property, fits in with what's already out there and will be a good addition.
Anybody else? Councillor Kiss, write a reply. Okay, I'll put the motion to DA. Passed unanimously. Thank you. 4.9, the Cowra Development Control Plan 2021, amended Part E.4, Urban and Village Development, additions of Valley View Estate planning controls. Councillor Kiss, thank you. There's not many of us. Councillor Downing, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
This was recommended to us to reconsider and modify the development plan by including specific planning controls. This for up at Valley View Estate. There is one area that was changed from the original. It was recommended that at least 75% of the landscaped areas must be planted with Indigenous species, and we removed that, being that we figured that it was already identified that the majority of properties didn't comply with that, and it could be an unreasonable ask. We simply wanted to look good. And yes, that's all. Thank you.
Councillor Downing.
This is an important updates for our planning documents after our Tokyo Terrace incidents last year. This is something that we wanted to put in that wasn't actually put in, and it was only in draft form, and now we're formalising that. Although I'm going to vote for it with the landscaped areas taken out with native plants, I do think it is important up there that we keep the look of it backing onto a very significant cultural site. So yeah, although I wish that was in there, I'm happy with it otherwise.
Anybody else? Councillor Wright.
The important part here is going out on public exhibition for 28 days, and it'll come back to council. I too agree with Councillor Downing about the removal of the 75% native vegetation. It probably is a tall order to ask, especially when a large part of that area has already been developed. But going back to the 80s and into the 90s, there was a lot of talk about the rising water level and salinity and rising damp, which is very prevalent along Bartlett Street and Vaux Street. And a lot of that comes from when we take trees and deep-rooted grasses and that down from the higher areas of Cowra, and which includes this area here. And there could be a lot of justification for using this native vegetation to help support the environment further down the slope. But it'd be a brave person to try and to stand between someone building a very nice house and wanting a lawn and telling them that they need to sow this, but any encouragement possible in in the planning process may be of assistance, and it could be something the NRM committee could look at, of what sort of grasses and trees that can be sown that still look good and still create the vista you want. But other than that, we'll put it out on public exhibition, and hopefully someone will look at it and say, yes, it's good, and we can adopt it with confidence. Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak on that? Right of reply, councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, and look, I would concur with councillors Downing and Wright. I would hope that the new owners would be considerate of the environment, even though we're removing the 75% rule. And I would also particularly like to note that this adjustment will not prevent future community entitlement development applications. I think it's important to note. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I'll put the motion. Is this require show of hands? No. Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Passed. Thank you. Okay, we'll go on to 5, General Manager. 5.1 is the Acting General Manager. Councillor Wright. Councillor Downing. She's close. Councillor Downing's closer too, so, Councillor Wright.
Oh, this is housekeeping. We had seen the author is Larissa Hackett. She's probably spoken to herself about being able to do it when she needs to, and she probably mentions to Director Weimer on her way home from work or something. We're walking down the street at Young. But on a more serious side, our General Manager, for no fault of his own, is going through a difficult period, and we need to fill the gap while he's away, and it has gone on a little bit, but to find a locum to do the job would be very difficult, and would be more disruptive than what we're doing here, and so I accept the recommendation. Thank you.
Councillor Downing. Anybody else like that? I'd just like to say that it is an imposition to our directors to put the extra load on them, and it probably suffers a little bit in their department, and we have to accept that we're putting a fair bit on their shoulders, and from time to time some of their work won't get done. You can't do everybody's work all the time, so I'd just like to put that on the record, that we are aware that we're putting a fair load on their shoulders. Councillor Wright, right a reply? If you don't mind, Councillor Wright, Councillor Horton?
I was going to say something similar. Having had some experience at trying to job share and trying to cover your own job, it's really, really difficult. And I just wanted to make note and make mention that I think you're doing an incredible job of managing your own workload and transferring between you and Dirk. From my perspective, I think you're doing a terrific job, and I think that needs to be noted. Thank you.
Councillor Wright, right a reply?
Yeah, no, it's pretty straightforward. We are putting a lot of weight on the shoulders of the two directors, and also with our new director, Alan. But if we had a locum come in, they'd be asking a lot of questions too, and it'd be a little bit disruptive trying to get him up to speed or her up to speed. And we just hope that that his health improves and things come back to normal. Thank you.
Okay, I'll put the motion. Everybody in favour? Aye. Thank you. 5.2, the Local Government New South Wales Annual Conference voting delegates. I'd like to move that be the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor as usual. Anyone second that? The Deputy Mayor? Councillor Kiss. Anybody like to speak on that? Councillor Downing?
Yeah, I was just going to say it's not as usual because it just depends on who goes to the conference, but because you're both attending, that would be the way to go.
Councillor Wright?
Yeah, it's a frustrating part of the council. we're all eligible to go to the conference, but only 2 people get to vote. However, the other delegates are quite welcome to engage in debate and so forth, and offer our delegates any wisdom they think when making these decisions. And I did say in an email that I floated around that I'm sorry I don't talk to you personally, but I just float things around. This could be an opportunity where rural and regional area topics can gain a little bit more momentum than when we're trying to do it in Sydney with the high attendance of city councillors, and they may have every right, as we have, to comment on things. But at some point, we have our concerns are 100 mile apart, and I wish you all the best when you go to the conference, and I hope you enjoy it and come home with some enthusiasm on what we might be able to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I would just like to reiterate what Councillor Wright has said. The business papers are distributed before we go to conference, and I know we've always discussed them beforehand. If there are any concerns or anything that comes to light, we might be holding the buzzers, but we're by no means acting not, by ourselves. We do like to make sure that we are still working as a team, working collaboratively. And I look forward to learning from the LG New South Wales conference with my fellow colleagues, and we'll have not only Councillor Watt there as well, good experience, but we'll have our new councillor Horton with us as well. So be a lot of learning to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you. State of our city report 5.3 2024. Can I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Kiss. I get a stamp made, I think. Who is the seconder? Sorry, Councillor. Fastest drawer in the West. Yeah, I've given it to Councillor Downing. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, there's an awful lot to consider in this State of our City report, even though I don't consider us a city, but that's the name that we are given. It's simply an exciting document that reflects on how we've performed in relation to the objectives in our community strategic plan over our previous term. I think to me it's a reminder that all council works are on a long-term basis to ensure that we have sustainability. This is financial as well. It addresses our long-term progress so that we can continue to meet the needs in the future, and also shows what we actually have achieved in the short term as well. It goes to show what we're looking after on a regular basis, so I'd advise anyone to have a bit of a look at it. Short-term achievements, and look, I think one important thing to note in here as well, and it takes up such a small portion of the document, is to say that we have endured these natural hardships. You know, we've had the floods, we've had the droughts, we've gone through everything, and yet we have still achieved an incredible amount during that time. And look, I would like to actually thank the council staff for the work that they do to continue with these deliverables. It's fine for us to sit here and say we think the community deserves this and put it into the plan, but the staff are actually looking at it and working on it on a daily basis, and I think they should be commended for that. Thank you.
Councillor Downing.
Yeah, just to say that it is a weird name. State of our City was formerly known as the end of term report, which is probably more appropriate. So this is a report that we do, the former council does, and then the new council gets to look at as they come in, and it just does show how much we've actually got accomplished, but also to our aims and goals that we still need to accomplish. As a new council, we will have new plans and as we go forward, so it's exciting.
Councillor Horton.
Thank you. And this is for my learning and education, I suspect as well. I think it is a terrific document, and I think it really it could reflect back to the community exactly what has been achieved and where council is going and what is happening. So I guess, you know, we had a conversation earlier around engagement with council, or lack thereof. I think this is a tool that could be used. And I think it's one of the things that I think about is how do we reflect back to the community what we're doing, what we're achieving, and where we want to get to. And you know, this is one of those things I think we could use effectively to build that engagement. Thanks.
Councillor Wright?
I have a question first. The recommendation says that council endorse the state of our city report. We usually note these reports. Endorse mean anything different?
I've got no idea.
That's all right. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
we endorse what's there. Everyone's been in favour of it. And I suppose if you note it, you might note something you don't like, but you can't change it, so you just leave it on the table. I think it's highlighted how we come through our difficulties and our better times, and it's a work in place. Councillor Horton said that something about dynamic, something that keeps changing. Well, things that keep changing. We had a CBD committee that sort of tried to do something, and I noticed that Better Electrical have gone back into Martin's, which filled up that hole, and there's a bakery going into the hot bake. It's supposed to start on about the 11th of November. So we're still ticking over, and most of the farmers out there are trying to do their best, and what the positives coming out of that are being endorsed what's happening in the town. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to say that I take endorse to mean that we approve. We've looked at it, we approve that that's the report, and we support it. Whereas note, it just means it goes in the books. That's how I would see it. When I read it, it just brought back to me what we had got done in our term, because you forget about a lot of things and they drift apart. When you go back and look at it all, we did a lot, and it jigs your memory as much as anything. Write a reply, Councillor Kiss. No, not needed. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye, thank you. 5.4 is the committees and delegates for 2024 till 2026. Now, in your papers there tonight, there is the one that's got the villages on the bottom of it. There were two sections in the on the hub. One had it all and one didn't. But the one you've got there in your green folder, pink folder, has got you haven't got a green folder, I have. It has the correct thing. Now, there is one addition to be made to that. The ARIC committee notes the councillors on it, but it doesn't note the new independent ARIC member, Shannon Buckley. He's the third independent and he's not listed there, so that he will be added to that list. Can I have somebody move that they be accepted? Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Wright. You're a bit slow there, Councillor Downing. Yeah. Okay, Councillor Horton.
Thank you. I think Councillor Downing was deliberately holding something in both hands. We've discussed this back and forth. So happy to support. Just want to call out as well that there's a slight asterisk here, I think, pending the outcome of a by-election. So it's just important to note, I think, for everyone that we may reshuffle once we have an extra councillor.
Yep.
Thank you.
Councillor Wright? Nothing? Okay, I'd just like to reiterate Councillor Horton's remarks that we're all carrying a bit of an extra load until such time as we get another councillor. Some of us have got committees that won't meet before we make the adjustment, so it mightn't be as bad as it looks, but we are all carrying a few until such time. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All right, thank you. Number 6, Director of Corporate Services, pecuniary interest returns for the financial year ended the 30th of June 2024. It might say 2023 on your documents, but it is 2024. Thank you. Councillor Horton. Thank you. Councillor Wright.
This is housekeeping where everyone involved in the decision-making process of council have to declare what their involvement is in businesses and ownership of different things or people they might do business with closely. And this is just conforming to the regulations. Thank you. And just by the way, I haven't had any upgrades on Qantas. Thank you.
No, neither did I. Councillor Horton, nothing. Anybody else? I'll put the motion. All those in favour, thank you, passed. 6.2 is the report on the 80th anniversary commemoration of the Cowra breakout. Has everybody had a look at that? I thought it was an impressive letter, actually. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horton. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton.
Thank you. Yes, agree, Mayor. It's an impressive document, but equally impressive set of events through the celebration, through the commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the breakout. So yeah, happy to support, and I think this is again another opportunity where we've got something committed to paper. We've got some documentation. We've got an artefact that we can reflect back to the community about what we're doing and what's been done and what people can get involved with. Thank you.
Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I was astounded at all of the events that were part of the 80th anniversary. And then when I saw it put into 2.5 pages so succinctly, I was even more astounded. Look, absolutely memorable and respectful events, and just absolutely incredible. I really don't know what else I can say, but yeah.
Anybody else? Councillor Wright.
You know, it was a good event, and you'd think after 80 years we'd be, could be considered as it's a token sort of acknowledgement, but that's far from the truth. I think there's more people, well, I myself, getting more information out about it, finding about the things that happened, how it happened, all the time. And my father was in the Second World War, and he actually guarded people coming to the POW camp and made very little comment about it. He made very little comment on the war at all. And it wasn't until the mid-90s that he actually started going to Anzac Day, but he never really told us what happened. And through these events, I think it's keeping the public aware of what happened and what's developed since. And I know there's people in other states, and that my wife's been to craft things in Geelong and so forth, and talking about what happens up here, and they don't know about it, and they're coming up here to visit to find out what it is. So we're not glorifying the situation, we're just making people aware of what happened here and what has happened since. Thank you.
Anybody else? With the permission of the mover and the seconder, I'd like Cowra Council to send a letter of thanks to all people that were involved, both staff and volunteers. A letter of thank you, and if you don't mind. Councillor Horton, is that acceptable to you? Councillor Kiss?
In essence, I certainly support it, but when we're talking a letter to all that was involved, do we just a...
My thoughts were that we'd get Graham to nominate all the people that he believes should get a letter.
Very happy to
Well, there's a list of volunteers listed here.
There is, yeah.
And if you're going to do that, I'm quite happy to have that added on to the original motion. Dawn Smith was one of the ones with St Raphael's, and her husband just passed, so might just need to offer a bit of sympathy there.
Yep. Combination. Yep. Thank you. Okay, all those in favour? Thank you. Section 355, Committee Draft Minutes, the Australian Chapter of the World Peace Bell Association. How's that down? Back into the field. Seconder, please. Councillor Kiss. Thank you. Councillor Downing.
Just briefly, we've got 3 lots of minutes there from May 7, June 25 and August 13, which literally just takes us through all the planning of our events that have all happened now. So our participation in the ADF, the anniversary of the breakout, the Youth Peace Forum, and I just wanted to note that the money from the WEA bequest has been used for a guest speaker for that Youth Peace Forum and also the Rotary dinner. He was very well received. We had over 90 students during the day at our forum, which is incredible. We had 20 the year before, so it's a great jump. Cowra girl, a former Cowra girl, Katie Brown, has completed the moving video package to talk about the history of the Peace Bell, which I'm hoping to play to councillors. We had our first showing of it at the Youth Peace Forum, which was really cool. It's very moving, and it features local identities who have been involved in the Peace Committee for a long time. So Rod Bloom is in it, Ian Brown, Jen Monday and Margaret Britton were all featured in interviews, as well as some history as well. So yeah, that was really good. Is there any other questions that anyone has? Or yeah, I'll see if I can answer them.
Is this the move? Are we going to show that at the next information meeting? We're going to look at that.
Well, are you going to be at conference for the next information meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, so we might do it in December.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, at the nearest information meeting we can. I was hoping we could play it.
Yeah.
Before the start.
I'd love to have a look at it.
Yeah, it's really good. It's great.
Anybody else? Councillor Kiss.
I did note that back in May, you've said that Councillor Downing, that there was additional interest from the community. So I was really excited to see that, and I can only congratulate the World Peace Bell Committee, because I believe that the extra interest from the community is because of the success of these events, that people are really praising the committee and seeing what's going on and simply want to be a part of it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Downing, right of reply.
I just wanted to mention too, we had a very short time frame for our 80th anniversary function down at the Peace Bell, but it was actually very moving. We had it started with a smoking ceremony, and I think that was well received by everyone who was there as well. So thanks to Dinner and Connection for that.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you very much. 6.4, release of closed decisions. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Wright, thank you. Councillor Kiss. Nothing. Councillor Wright.
No, the decision's been made. This is just bringing it into the public arena.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else got any? All those in favour, I'll put the motion. Thank you. Now 6.5 is the investment and financial report. Again, it has been updated and is now correct. Don't all rush. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Downing, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, now with the updated document, pleased to see that in front of us. We've secured some healthy rates of interest on our investments, which is pleasing to see they're beyond the RBA cash rate target. I understand there's always a fallout, on the other end of the spectrum, but it is reassuring to see our funds coming in to supplement our income. I'd like to say thank you to the residents who do pay their rates on time, and to those who are, unfortunately in a more difficult situation and end up going into a recovery arrangement. It's not a conversation that any of us like to have, but simply put, the rates allow council to provide the services that the Shire deserves. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. No, Councillor Downing.
I'd just like to say it's pleasing that a few of our loans will be paid off in early 2025. So that's really good to see. And just to reiterate what Councillor Kiss said, that although we get lots of investments, we get a good rate. The flip side of that is that our ratepayers may be paying higher charges for their mortgages. So, like, just encourage you to come forward and have a conversation if you're having trouble.
Anybody else? Yeah, I'd like to add to that. As the interest rates go up, it's a double-edged sword. We're getting more on our investments, but some of our people are doing it tough. So it is a double-edged sword. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. 6.6, donation to the Cowra Tourism Corporation for the Shop Locally campaign. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Downing.
So this request is for a $5,000 donation to Cowra Tourism to run a buy local promotion in conjunction with the Christmas festival to be held on December 6th. The total estimate for the running of the event is $25,000 from my reading. The funds are consistent with what's been donated in the past, and I feel it would be money well spent to promote community engagement and boost business by promoting use of local business and services by providing the incentive of prize draws. I also think that we are giving a donation for the Christmas lights as well. So I think council is really stepping up. We possibly could have given this donation to a business chamber to do something similar, and that may have been why there wasn't done last year. So I'm glad that tourism is picking up that and running with it for our business community.
Councillor Horton.
Thank you. Yes, agree. So, yeah, to be clear, so that this is a $5,000 in addition to the $5,000 for the Christmas lights, but this is all about local, local spending money locally and promoting that and generating activity. So, and again, consistent with amounts that have been donated previously, so $8,000 in 22-23. So again, it just makes sense to generate activity locally if we can, and if we can contribute in some small way, then I think that's a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Kiss.
Just briefly, and I think it's all been mentioned very well about incentivising local spending, but what I've found is quite simply it contributes to the community spirit. It's amazing. You go into the shops and everyone's, have you got the Christmas cracker? Have you got your ticket? And it's fabulous to see everybody in the community is on board. So yeah, worthwhile investment.
Thank you. I would thank the director for showing us just how much money we're putting into the Tourism Corporation every year. It's a substantial amount of money. I would question if the Shop Locally we're putting in 5,000. I question that the Christmas lights promotion would have a matching grant. One's a lot more important than the other to me, but that's my thoughts. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. You don't want a right of reply. I knew that. Okay. Infrastructure and operations, which is our only matter tonight. 7.1, review of the 2014 pedestrian and cycling plan. Can I have a mover? We discussed it in the thing. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Wright, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, a very exciting plan. It covers the next 10 years, extremely comprehensive pedestrian and cycling improvements for our Shire. We want to encourage people to get out there and become more physically active for their physical health and as well as their mental well-being. Some of these improvements will happen relatively quickly. Others are going to take a fair bit more planning. Obviously, any plan is about prioritising, budgeting, and then obviously sourcing the income. So just because it's in a plan doesn't mean it's going to be able to happen straight away, but it does mean that we have intentions and that we will be looking for funding sourcing once the opportunity arrives.
Councillor Wright.
Yeah, they say without a plan, you can't do anything. A failed a plan is a plan to fail. And I can thoroughly vouch for that recommendation. But and also acknowledge in this plan there's more detail of the cycle and pedestrian and cycle path for the Tarragala area. Often Tarragala doesn't always notified of all is included in a lot of these things, not by accident, just it just happens, and it's good to see that that's put into place. It's good to see all these paths going about. The interaction of cycles and pedestrians, I find, can be a bit annoying at times, but I just hope there's a bit of courtesy amongst the users, and it's all going to be good, and it could help our net zero target with more people walking and riding bikes instead of driving. Although apparently the rubber bits that come off tyres are causing a lot of pollution, so you can't win. See ya.
Thank you, councillor Wright. Anybody else like to make a comment? Thank you. Councillor Downing?
Yeah, I am very happy that we got some Tarragala stuff in there, which is really good, but we've also got some accessibility stuff as well. I think as our community, we want them to be healthy, we want them to have safe places where they can ride and walk, and I think the paths that we're putting in, especially up at the Peace Precinct and down at River Park, are used really well, so I'm hoping there's an extension of that. And also just to mention that the villages are included in this as well, it's just not Cowra. It's all the villages as well.
Anybody else like to comment? Right, a reply, councillor Kiss. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay, 8.1, DA 80/2024, Lot 1 DP 1125-921, 13 Dungowan Street, Cowra, attached dual occupancy lodged by the Aboriginal Housing Office. Can I have a move it, Tony? Councillor Horton, thank you. 203. Can I have a second, please? Yep, councillor Downing. You got it, councillor, right? Yeah, right, okay. Councillor Horton?
Thank you. Yes, given previous comments about wanting to see a greater mix of housing stock availability, it'll surprise no one to hear that I'm supportive of this application. This is an area of town that can do with some development. This is, I think, a good-looking plan. Good use of this land. I note the exception to the street frontage, but the block is the block that's available. There are existing dwellings either side of the block, so I think it's a good use of that piece of land. And as far as I'm aware, I think it's been vacant land for some time now. So seeing a development in that area and making good use of it, I think is a good thing. Thanks,
Councillor Downing.
Yes, thanks, Mayor Smith. I would agree with that. We're asking for a variation on the setback at the front, which is only minimal, and then the absence of major windows overlooking the street, which is in our planning documents, and neither of those things will take away from the look of this property. It's going to be very nice, and it's yeah, I'm totally 100% for it.
Anybody else? Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I too, it's an imaginative design. If anyone had said they could design a house without the front windows there and still have it looking amazing, I would have laughed in their face. But having seen the picture of this, I really am impressed. It's not only okay, it actually looks quite pleasing. So, yeah, interesting design and well done to whoever has designed it. And having said that, I also think too that by designing it that way, it's allowed for that bit of a backyard space, which had we had battle axe blocks and things, well then the driveway is taken up. So yeah, I'm really quite pleased with it. You know, wouldn't mind seeing more of these. It is noted as well that there are no public submissions, and I was pleased to note that it says the interior design allows for easy movement through the bathroom and through the living areas to improve livability. So that's been done, and it does say that the housing would be suitable for more elderly people or people with mobility restrictions as well. Thank you.
Anybody else like to comment? Right of reply, councillor Horton. Not required. This is a DA, people. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. 8.2 DA application 84/2024 lot 32 DP 270073 32 Battalion Drive, Cowra. It's a garage lodged by BI Green. Councillor Kiss, Councillor Horton. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The DA's come to us because the owner is requesting a garage building height of 6.22 metres, whereas our DCP advises 4.5. This is to provide accommodation to caravan and boat, as well as extra storage. The garage is behind the building line of the existing dwelling. It's not going to be highly visible to the road. It will be shaded or screened from established trees, and it's 35 metres back from the road. I have absolutely no problem with this at all. Thank you.
Councillor Horton.
Yeah, I'd support those comments. I think the positioning of it means that it'll have very little impact to anyone else in that area. It's screened and shaded, and it's well set back. I think it's positioned well on the block. So happy to support. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Wright.
Yeah, I support this, and I suppose it highlights the change in the uses for garages today, and with the size of vehicles that people buy, it is available for off-road activities or for campers, a camper van or a caravan, and it's just what it is. Sometimes you need a higher shed to get into, and we have to try and meet those requirements where possible. Thank you.
Anybody else? Right, a reply, councillor Kiss. Not required. It's a DA, gentlemen, ladies. Okay, passed unanimously. Thank you. 8.3 Access Incentive Fund application from the Cowra Rugby Club. Councillor Kiss. Councillor, right, Councillor Downing. Right, Councillor Kiss, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This application for the Access Incentive Fund was presented to the Access Committee earlier this year. In essence, at the time, the application was recommended for approval, but the only concern raised at the time was the lack of detail on the application, as it simply advised that it was for footpaths and for car parks on a hand-drawn map. There was no attestation at the time that it would conform to disability standards or that it had even been properly considered. But as per our policy in council, the application was reviewed by the Environmental Services team and further supporting documentation was provided in July. So we're quite comfortable that they have every intention of providing infrastructure to disability standards. And the Access Committee would now like to request that Council supports this recommendation, as it will help to increase our accessible premises in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Downing.
Yes, I'd agree with those comments, and just say that this, although it is not a council facility as such, the accessibility of the rugby ground will be of use. It is used by other members of the community as well, so it's a great addition and good use of our good spending of that money, which is what we want.
Anybody else? Yeah, look, the plans are a bit vague on it, but I've been assured that council will make sure that it is built to our specifications. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you. 8.4, Section 355, Committee Draft Minutes, the Access Committee meeting held on the 26th of August 2024. Councillor Kiss, I noticed you'd be moving this. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Look, our Access Committee is a very busy one, always taking a great interest on the accessibility within our community. It was great. They were very excited to see a lot of their action items placed into the PAC plan, the pedestrian cycling plan, because they'd been holding on in there for quite some time. And of note, I can confirm that the modifications to Council's building in 15 Vaux Street to make the wheelchair or disabled toilet compliant is underway. So that's very exciting as well. And yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Councillor Horton.
I'd just like to call out, I think it's terrific, the range of activities that the Access Committee's got and items that they've got listed there in terms of things that they're chasing up and wanting action on. So it's a really good range of activities that are underway, and it's great that we can support it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Downing? Yes?
Is the CBD speed limit part of there will not be changed? What was that about?
It was considered at the time whether it should be reduced to 40 kilometres an hour. If I remember right back from when I first started on the Access Committee, and we're talking 9 years ago or so, it was told to us that it would never be reduced to 40 kilometres an hour because it was, and I couldn't even quote who it came from, but because it was an A road, it's a state road, etc., it will never happen. And then it raised its head once Blaney ended up with a portion of their road reduced to 40. So it came under discussion then, and obviously it can still be entered into because what we were told originally was incorrect, obviously, or unless there were policy changes during that time that are now allowing it to be 40. But it was considered at the time, and the committee decided that because there are traffic calming devices such as the median strip in the middle, as well as having 2 sets of lights, that it wasn't as imperative for our street to be labelled 40 kilometres as it was out at Blaney. But certainly something that we could be checking up for if that came up for request again, and we'd say, you know, they would up to be to Transport for New South Wales. It was just an interesting concept that we'd always been told no, it would never happen, and then there it was on an A road. So thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, I go along, I don't know whether it should be 40 k's, but sometimes you see a B double coming down the street at 50 k's an hour on a wet day, and you wonder how the hell they'd ever pull it up if they had to in a hurry. So, but it's a job for the Transport for New South Wales, it's not for us. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Opposed? 8.5, development application number 1572017, lot 1 DP 833955, 77 Pridham Street, Cowra, S4.55, 1A, modification to subdivision, create 4 additional lots and remove trees within the road reserve. Mod 2, lodged by Vision Town Planning Consultants. Would someone like to move that be accepted? That is on page 357, or it should be. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Horton. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This DA is a requested variation to Council's DCP to create an additional 4 lots to the subdivision that had previously been approved for 13 lots. It's zoned general industrial. The applicant has requested the change in the belief that there's demand for smaller lot sizes, that the ones that are proposed will be between 1,500 square and almost 4,000 square. It should be noted that the original subdivision was actually approved for 14 lots, so in essence it's only an additional 3 on what was originally approved. It has been assessed as far the environmental impact as being minimal. The loss of the trees, so many of them along the road reserves, I think is extremely unfortunate. Or having looked at the picture of them and driven down there, I actually think they look quite attractive, but obviously they serve many environmental functions too. However, given the requirements of essential energy, it's more than reasonable that these be removed, and it should be noted that replacement plantings have also been required as part of a DA. Staff have given this extra consideration for increased noise and dust, so they've requested that the battle axe handles be sealed to reduce this effect. Quite happy with that. Look, all in all, I think it's a well considered in development, and based on the increased need for the industrial land that we've seen going up, I think it will be well received. Thank you.
Councillor Horton.
Thank you. Yes, agree. The loss of the trees is absolutely regrettable, but that's clear advice from Essential Energy. There was also some discussion about the width of those battle axe handles. So I think they're 10 metres wide, so that helps allow for ingress and egress for larger vehicles, which is good. Which is one of the concerns with battle axe designs. I hope the good thing is that this would show that there's a need for these developments, and there's businesses that are keen to take them up. So happy to support.
Anybody else? Councillor Wright.
Just a question, I only briefly looked at this last night, but where is 77 Pridham Street?
It's on the way to the tip. You turn the corner off Pridham. What we're dealing with is actually on Glen Logan Road, not Pridham Street. That's where the access will be. But the block it starts at Pridham Street. So
it goes up on the eastern end of Geronimo to the
to the
those
northern,
blocks.
the western end and up to the northern side of Geronimo.
Well, the western end is Glen Logan Road.
That's right, and that's
So-
where it comes off Glen Logan Road all the way. If you haven't, as you go into the tip, you'll see a lot of
Yeah,
water connections as you go along the road. That's
Yeah.
that's where we're referring to.
that's all right. It's all right. I've got concerns with battle axe blocks, but if as he said, they seem wide enough to make sure emergency vehicles can get up there if needed, and any other and egress and egress, whatever the vehicles. It's good. Thank you.
Thank you. You often wonder at the back of these, on the eastern side of these blocks, is the railway line, and you wonder in long term what will become of that. But that's not for us to decide at this point in time. This is a DA. All those in favour? Write a reply. Who? Councillor Kiss, write a reply. Not required. I didn't think so. All those in favour? Aye, pass. Thank you. We will go on now to 9, the late report, because before we go into the confidential section. So we'll do 9.3, DA number 2, 2020, lot 1, 2. It's, yes, it's out of order out of our agenda order. Otherwise, we've got to go into confidential and come back out. And, yep. So 9.3 is DA, I'll start again, number 2/2020, lot 121 DP 1226131, 3 Melaleuca Circuit, Cowra, S4.551A, modification to dwelling, modify retaining wall, replace approved water tank with 2 water tanks and internal modifications. Mod 2, lodged by P. Hurrell. Can I have a mover? Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton, thank you. Oh, she's too slow to the time. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, this DA has come to council firstly because the original application came to council for determination. Look, it's got an internal ensuite reconfiguration. I can't see that as causing any issues at all. The replacement of 1 underground tank with 2 above ground will continue to achieve council's objectives. No issues with that at all. The other concern of the last request for variation was to do with the back boundary in moving the back retaining wall to actually create a boundary fence out of it. it's been designed by an engineer, so I'm satisfied that it will suit the purpose. Won't have any impact on the streetscape or the functionality. It'll allow for a level backyard, and the neighbour at the back is council because it's water retention basin, so I can't see that causing any great issues either. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton?
Thank you. Yes, in terms of the retaining wall, as mentioned, that's council land behind it, and I think council staff checked to ensure that there was still access and egress was available there. So it's not going to impinge on anyone else or any other property. And with respect to the water tanks, I was concerned about the water tanks until I reread it and realised they were 10,000 litre water tanks, not 20,000 litre water tanks. So they're about like 2 metres high and 2.5 metres wide. So they're not going to really impact on the visual aspect either. Obviously they're in the backyard behind the fence line, but behind the building of the house. But you know, from other people's backyards, I was concerned about that. But the size of them, I think they'll be screened. So happy to support.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, that's the DA people. I'll put the motion. Favour, passed. Thank you very much. Right. Anybody have any notice of motion? No. Okay. I'll now take a motion to close the meeting to the public to consider the following confidential reports. Now, there are two here. In actual fact, there is only one. 1.1 request for water account adjustment assessment number 55. These matters are considered to be confidential under section 10A2/B of the Local Government Act, and the council is satisfied that discussion of these matters in an open meeting would on balance be contrary to the public interest as they deal with discussion in relation to the personal hardship of a resident or ratepayer. Can I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Kiss. Councillor Downing. Councillor Kiss. Not needed. All those in favour? Right, okay. We'll go into confidential